Welcome back to ReadingBear. Today, we will take a look at some new malicious compliance stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
First one is titled, Going to Send Me Home Early? Okay, if that's what you really want. Happened a few years ago. I was working for a small mum and pop auto shop and had been there for a while. We had a pretty good routine and the manager was a really nice friendly guy, who I'm still friends with to this day. The shop got bought out by a franchise, so there were some big changes going on. They hired a new assistant manager to help the previous manager. I was the only mechanic working for the entire 4-bay shop. The manager was also a mechanic and would frequently help me out, but the suits said that because he's a manager he can't be seen working on cars cause then he'll be dirty and unpresentable or some BS. Anyway, the new assistant manager was a total idiot, had this huge complex about how good he was and tried to brag about every little thing to try to earn our respect. Said he had lots of experience with cars, but I never saw him even try to fix one. He also misnamed several parts and I had to correct him. There was even a point where he wanted to upsell an elderly couple on parts they didn't need. Needless to say, we didn't get along. Every time the manager wasn't around, the assistant manager would make a point of showing off his higher ranking position to me by belittling me and yelling at me. Eventually we got another technician to help me out with oil changes and whatnot. It was early in the day. We opened at about 8:30 and it was about 9 now. The manager was off that day because he was moving houses, so he was packing and unpacking. We had one car be dropped off where the customer wasn't even waiting for it. It was for an oil change. We had one of those regional suits come down to try to sort some logistical stuff out because the shop was still in the renovation process, so he was following the assistant manager around. We have a laptop that we use as a radio station, so we're not working in complete silence and everyone can change the tune, and since nothing was playing and we were about to get working, I decided to put some music on. The assistant comes up and starts switching to get off the computer and get to work, and I said, yeah, let me put some music on. Then he goes on about some crap like, are you ducking kidding me, I told you to get off the laptop. Now I'm not dealing with your crap today, go home. Right now, and I was like, are you serious? The new guy will get swamped without me here. And the assistant turns to the new guy and says, are you gonna be overwhelmed here by yourself? And he goes, well, if Josh Elite leaves, then yeah. Assistant manager goes, whatever, I'll help you. Pack up your crap and leave. So I shrugged, packed up my things and got in my car. Called the manager and explained what happened and that I was putting in my 2 weeks notice, because this wasn't the first time I got sent home for no reason other than a power show. He understood and then informed me it was illegal to send an employee home without them having worked a minimum of 4 hours that day. True to my word, I quit after 2 weeks. And from what I heard, the assistant manager got an earful from the manager and the regional supervisors about treating his employees like that. And because they were short one mechanic, me, the manager made the assistant manager work in the shop, and he hated that, so he himself ended up quitting. I got a new job almost immediately because I work in trades, but the assistant manager tried to call me months later to hang out. Yeah, no thanks buddy. Enjoy job hunting. Next one is titled, Ski Resort Loads Customers Onto a Ski Lift During a Lightning Storm. Try to blame employees. Years ago when I was about 19 I worked at a local ski resort. I was a lift operator. The job was a lot of fun and I met some of my best friends through that job. One day I'm going through my typical day working as a liftee. Shoveling snow, greeting guests, shooting the breeze. I was working the very lowest elevation lift. The layout of the resort is so that the lodge is at the top and the majority of skiable terrain is below the lodge. So I'm the lowest man on the hill for the day. This resort is at a pretty high elevation, so we are above the cloud line on this particular day. I'm doing my thing and I'm watching an epic thunderstorm happening below us. The beginning of the day the weather says we will be above the clouds all day, so no worries. At about 10 AM I notice the thunder clouds are creeping up the mountain, so I go ahead and call the lodge up top and notify them. They tell me not to worry. About a half hour goes by and now the clouds are right on top of me. Thunder and lighting is going crazy. I call the top again to update them on the existing conditions. I can tell they aren't taking me seriously but don't really know what to do about it. They tell me it's probably not as close as I think it is and to keep loading guests as per usual. Another half hour goes by and now it is straight up end of times thunder happening. I call the top and make my first demands to close the runs leading down to my lift so we can evacuate guests and get them off the lift. The lodge basically accuses me of lying at this point, telling me I'm going to have to work a full day regardless, but nice try on catching an early end to my shift. The next call up to the lodge I made on my personal cell phone in order to better document my efforts to clear the mountain. This comes into play later. I was still not taken seriously and was told to keep loading guests. They did finally send ski patrol down the hill to check on the situation. I'll never forget this family came up to the lift, looked up at the lightning strikes happening directly above us and asked me if I was sure if it was safe to get on the lift. I shrugged and said no, probably not, but I don't know how else to get you guys out of here. They begrudgingly loaded onto the lift. I make my final call from my cell phone, pleading to close the lift as soon as possible. No support. Ski patrol shows up and they finally understand what is happening. They say they are going to ride the lift up and close the run as soon as they get up there. My estimate puts both the family and the ski patrollers about halfway up the lift when the lift finally takes a direct lightning strike and powers down. Backup generators are also toast. We are dead in the water with a lift full of guests during a full-on electrical storm. The evacuation process finally begins. Ski patrol has to come down and start bringing the line of people at the lift to the top via snowmobile. The people on the lift have to be rescued one by one. The process involves shooting a rope over the metal cable on the lift and lowering guests down on a seat connected to the end of the rope. When it's all said and done, I'm sure there were lawsuits. The resort tried to pin all the blame on me. Luckily I had the phone calls on my personal phone to prove I had established contact over an hour and a half before evacuation had begun. I quit that job shortly after. Moved to Park City and got a higher paying job where I was able to snowboard more, which is the only reason I was up there in the first place. I hope that everyone on that lift sued for all the money. They certainly were entitled to it. Next one is titled, You Want to Be the Boss? Then Boss You Shall Be. A few weeks after I started working on the line at a factory, we got a new boss. He was a prick, straight out of college with no experience, who looked down on us for not getting further in life like him. He also thought he could fix what wasn't broken. So there was a quality station at the end of our department. These were pairs of veterans who kept things running smoothly. Boss thought everyone should rotate that position. We were not consulted. Our unofficial spokesperson, who was 30 years his senior, tried to explain to him in private why this would be a bad idea, and got told, I'm the boss. You're the employee. The negotiations were short. Sure enough, things got worse fast. Newbies like me had never been trained for this position, so products got sent to the wrong places. Slackers who had never made quality a priority performed as expected, and defects made it through. The original quality team was thrown back into jobs they hadn't done in months, and struggled to their sea legs back. Our department's morale and numbers plummeted. We kept getting complaints, and as you know, crap rolls downhill. We got chewed out for underperforming. In one meeting, he stopped the line, which cost the company by the minute, had us all gather round, and said if one more tagged part got sent the wrong way, doom and dire consequences would follow. I don't know, I had kinda tuned him out by then. We were to tell the quality team when they had a tagged part so they couldn't miss it. Enter malicious compliance. In one of the most beautiful, brilliant acts I have ever witnessed, my co-workers complied. Cue a dozen black men shouting from one end of the block to the other, us got a tag coming up, he boss, and, we got ourselves a defective path, he boss, and, keep your eye out for that tag there boss. Even when he wasn't around. They kept it up all night. Boss was white, and couldn't say a thing. That policy was never brought up again, and he was transferred not long after. Our unofficial spokesperson later said boss admitted he had screwed up with us, but didn't know how to fix it without losing face. Hopefully it was a learning experience. He was just young and arrogant. Our next boss was great, and worked with us instead of at us to solve problems. If I'm ever in a leadership position, I know who I'd rather be like. Next one is titled, Drink Not Sweet Enough? I sure can fix that. This may not be huge, but it left me feeling so satisfied. I work in a beverage shop. It's locally known for great products and wonderful customer service. We have a regular I'll call Lisa. Lisa walks in like she's the world's greatest customer and demands our full attention while we are handling walk-ins, window, and online orders with a staff of 3. I cringe every time I see her pull up. She never tips. She is the only customer I've ever heard complain, and she does so without fail, every single time. Usually the owner, we'll call him John, takes care of her. This particular day, John was busy at the window, so I stepped in to take care of her. Lisa proceeds to complain that her last drink wasn't sweet enough and she couldn't even taste any of the strawberry in it. She wants a raspberry one this time, and make sure it's sweet. I don't spend my money here for drinks I could get at the gas station. Any other customer, I would have apologized and their drink would have been on the house. We take great pride in our work. But not for Lisa. I smiled and apologized, assured her I would make it sweet and wouldn't charge her for the extra added flavor. She looked extremely smug at this. I made her drink, keeping up with small talk and my smile. I put 5 pumps of raspberry into her drink. We normally do 2, and that makes it extremely sweet. I handed her the drink and moved on to the next customer. I was able to catch a glimpse of her smug look falling off her face as she took a sip and walked out the door. It's been 2 weeks and so far no sign of her. I hope she takes her business elsewhere. She won't be missed. Next one is titled, Hold Me Back 1 Year in HS Over a Single Gym Credit? How about I go to college a year early instead? I hated gym class, not because of the physical activity. I was in hockey and football, but the fact there wasn't enough time to shower before the bell. So you stink to high heaven for the rest of the day. So I would walk the track with all the girls, upset my coaches something awful. So they flunk me in my junior year and won't let me double up my senior year, so I would have to stay back. I had already picked out my college and was accepted tech school. Just had to finish my senior year. So I figured I could work out something with the guidance counselor and the coach. Nope, neither would budge. Okay, I walk away thinking I'm screwed and have to basically take 1 class my second senior year. Then it dawns on me, can I just start going to college now? Are there other alternatives? So I call my college admissions and college guidance counselor. Explain my situation and what other options are available. Since this is a non-traditional college, no SATs, you can start without a diploma. The caveat is you must have 1 or equivalent to get your diploma. The state I'm from, they don't distinguish between the two, so it won't be an issue later on. So I called another meeting hoping the HS admin would change their minds. No joy, they stuck to their guns. Thinking they had me cornered, I stood up and said, well, I'm just going to have to drop out then. I can't see missing a year of college to just do gym class. The coach thinks he's all cute and is, you can't go to college without a diploma. I relay what the tech school admin, guidance told me of their policy on this. Faces dropped. It said into the guidance counselor that a dropout looks bad on her and the school, small school, when the state audits. She starts backpedaling and I wasn't hearing any of it. Later on that night the principal and vice principal called to talk. I wasn't interested, I was all excited about starting classes in the fall. Next one is titled, Make a Big Stink About Identification? Show me yours, lady. When I was in college I used to work for my local movie theater. The job was amazing most of the time. You had a lot of freedom from the managers if you did your job right. On a busy night, this was the situation, I was working behind the bar. We had a system where we would sell tickets and concessions at the same registers. Most of the time this would work just fine, but on a busy Saturday night it would take a lot of time to take tickets orders, discuss seating in the theater and get all the food and drinks. This evening everything was running smoothly. It was a buddy night, but the team was well prepared and we had everything under control. I was taking an order from a longtime customer, let's call her Linda. Linda was a nice woman and we always had a nice chat with her. She was 25 and had a subscription at our theater. This would mean it would show her picture on the app with her date of birth and a QR code. This way we could see that the person was old enough to see the movie. Linda was ordering some nachos and 2 beers. Now that Linda is well above the legal drinking age, in my county 18, and had already scanned her QR code, you would get points for free stuff when you bought drinks and foods. I already knew her age was all right, so no reason to ask for any form of ID. So I'm here getting the order ready, and when I say the total to Linda, a lady behind her, let's call her Karen for obvious reasons, starts yelling, "Karen, you didn't check her ID." Linda looks over her shoulder, probably wondering why this woman is meddling, and turns back to me. "Do you really need to see my ID? I could grab it if you want to." So I'm here thinking, Karen should shut the duck up and mind her own business. Me, no, need to, Linda. I know you're older than 18 and it also says so on the app. Karen, no, you need to check it. You need to check everyone that buys alcohol. Me, miss, I already verified her age and, Karen, no. Only a legal ID or passport is good to verify age. Sure, this is the case in a normal situation. But when a customer has a subscription at our theater, they already have to verify their age and name with a legal ID. So we accept the app as a legal form of verification. At this point, I'm already losing my patience. Why is Karen meddling in this situation when Linda is clearly over the age of 18? Me, miss, thanks for bringing this to my attention, but this woman is a loyal customer and we already know her age because, Karen, no. This is unacceptable and you should check her ID. I'm really starting to get annoyed and Linda is noticing as well. Luckily Linda is a chill woman and smiles at me while grabbing her ID. Linda, here it is, all good right? Me, sorry about this and thanks for showing. It's still not necessary though, Linda, no problem at all and good luck with her, she says while smiling and giving me a wink. I finalize the purchase and get ready to enjoy serving Karen. Karen has a major attitude and the order takes ages. She doesn't like the seats and changes them a couple of times. She also demands a student discount, which we don't have on Saturdays, and she is clearly older. Finally, she orders her food and last but not least she orders a red wine. This triggers me instantly. I'm standing there with a big smile on my face like a kid in a candy store. You all see where this is going. I grab the wine and put it in on the counter. Then I say with my most polite voice, "Me, can I see your ID, miss?" Karen, excuse me? Me, well miss, as you pointed out to me I should check everyone for ID. Karen, well I'm obviously older than 18. Sure, Karen wasn't looking anywhere near 18. But she didn't hit prime Karen age either. I would say she was early 30s, but with all that plaster on her face, she could pass for a 25-year-old. Me, miss, the woman I asked before you was well over the age of 18. You insisted I follow the rules. If you don't have your ID with you I can't sell you the alcohol. Karen, preposterous. I demand to speak to the manager. Me, sure, I will get him. Now the manager this evening was Bob. Bob hated types like Karen and I knew he would stand by my side. So I go grab Bob and inform him of the whole situation. When I explained it all, Bob smiled at me with a huge grin on his face. Bob, let's go have some fun. So Bob walks with me to the registers and Karen yelled the whole story. Bob listens carefully and then reminds her of the rules and she needs to have some ID or she won't get her wine. Karen is done with the situation, I could clearly tell. The preview's already started so she grabs her wallet and pulls out a public transport card. Karen, here you go. It states I'm old enough. Bob, sorry, miss. This isn't a legal form of ID. Karen at this point is bright red and I thought she would burst out in anger. Karen, I demand you sell me this wine. This is ridiculous and I'm about to miss the movie. Bob, nothing I can do for you without ID, miss. I should also note that when the previews are over, usually after 15 minutes after starting time, we can't let you go inside the theater because this will cause a disturbance for the other visitor. At this point, I wish I could have taken a picture of Karen's face. The utter face of defeat was amazing to see. Karen, fine, just keep the wine. I'm going to see the movie and then I'm never coming back here. Bob, that's a shame, miss. That will be XXX please. After the whole incident, I got a compliment from Bob for sticking to the rules and for defeating a Karen in her own game. Last one is titled, Want Bigger Glassware? This bartender knows what's up. My parents and I were on vacation a few years back, and hanging out at the hotel bar. This place was one of those places that were cheap, but everyone who stayed there thought they were better than everyone else. A couple, male and female, walked in talking about how nice and quaint the bar looked. They sat down at the table next to us. You were supposed to order your drinks at the bar, then sit down. But since it was a slow night, the bartender walked over and served them. Bartender: "Hi, what can I get you?" Male: "What wines do you have tonight?" Bartender reads off wine list. Female: "Ooh, a rose wine would be just perfect." Male: "Make it 2. Bartender: "Sure, that'll be $15. Male: "We're going to open a tab." Bartender: "Unfortunately we don't do tabs here, you have to either charge it to your room or pay cash." He throws his room card on the table. Male: "Ugh, fine. Charge it to that." They laugh as the bartender grabs the card and heads back to the bar. The bartender pours their drinks and brings them back over. The first thing they did was hold up the glasses. Female: "These are rather small, do you have any bigger glasses?" Bartender: "Unfortunately those are the standard glasses." Male: "Really? We're paying $7.50 a glass, and you're going to get cheap on us? Surely you have bigger glasses, come on." Bartender, clearly annoyed: "Okay, I'll go check." He went to the bar and came back out with 2 glasses that I think they're supposed to be for margaritas, but were at least twice the size as the wine glasses. He held them up for them. Bartender: "How are these?" Female: "Oh, those are perfect." Male: "Yes, thank you." So the bartender puts the bigger glasses on their table, then takes the smaller glasses and dumps them into the bigger glasses. Bartender: "Is there anything else I can help you with?" They didn't say anything, just sat there dumbfounded. Bartender: "Great." My parents and I start losing it. We tried not to laugh, but we were all a bit inebriated, I guess. The bartender looked over at us and smiled. My dad gave him an extra $10 tip and said, "Thanks for the laughs, don't duck with the people who serve your drinks, lol." Thanks for listening.